of that job.
Oh.
Really low. With Blade will finish him up. He gets Seahawks over the wall with the broken wing. And the focus of Aslan. Grand Challenge is up. Aslan will not last long. There's a flash from Excavate now. And now a Steelers fails the Gold University still got the break, and here comes the fight. What time is on? Look at the stupidity and strategy on the center of the fight.
Flash away as Sharp goes for the back line. Gets Dancer standing on top of that equalizer. Gets equalized instead. Will be waiting.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching the Lenovo LOL Collegiate League Spring 2017 Interconference Series. Of course, we're going into our new match here between Malayan College's Warlocks and as well University of Negros Occidental Recoletos Rams. And of course, we'll be your shoutcasters for the rest of the day. I am Atlas, and with me is Arctic.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. But
like,
of course, coming to this, the carpet for the conference, for the group here, Group B, is actually so close. Most of the matches are 1-1s, meaning that most of these teams have only 1 point each coming into the semifinals, trying to get into the semifinals. So here, really, it's every team, now that MCL is going to have another match, it's going to be up to them to really get those 3 points from a 2-0. But of course, University of Negros Occidental Recoletos, they're no slouch, and they will want to get those wins as well. Looking at the pick and bans, it's going to be the Ari and Vladimir band out against MCL Jani. It seems like the starting members here will be Vonnie and Jani for this game. And Amumu banned out against Vonnie, actually. It's interesting. Amumu has been changed a little bit with a tank update and with the previous patches. We're going to see, I mean, rather, we won't see how he'll perform in that. On the other hand, they don't want to deal with Santis, Lee Sin, the top lane scaling from that Fiora, as well as the versatility from that support.
Indeed, you know, very interesting. This is a champion that you don't normally see banned out, but of course there is that respect for Vonnie, as he will be playing in for this game for Malayan College's Laguna. But let's go ahead and check out the picks here. Oriana going to be the first lock-in for Exidia.
Usually MCL banned out that Oriana against UC earlier. It seems now they left it open, a little more confident against Exidia's Oriana here. On the other hand, they do pick their own bot lane immediately here. Karmalution, very effective, lots of speed boosts. The shields will help that short-range AD carry survive in these trades and all-ins, so I really like it. On the other hand, University of Negros Occidental Recoletos, very safe if they lock this in. Lots of sustain, lots of long range.
Indeed, very, very long range for both sides here. But yeah, I mean, both bot lanes now revealed by both University of Negros Occidental Recoletos and Malayan Colleges Laguna. Ooh, looks like this is going to be a Corki mid, potentially.
They do use that Corki mid quite effectively. They didn't really make them win in their first game for today, but there is lots of potential in Jani's Corki mid. You're going to see how all that plays out later, but it's going to be the respect ban against Lucis. The Mordekaiser, they saw how that just completely popped off earlier in this day, and MCL responds to that by banning out Santi completely with Elise and Kazik. So that's like 3 assassins, early game assassins taken away from the jungler. We'll see how UNOR responds to that. Let's see how the picks come here. The Yorick, so Lucis, really one of those top laners that have weird champion pools, but it seems like to be working for them, because the macro play is there, the teamwork, the respect and trust is there for every member of the team. So it's going to be the Yorick ban against Lucis. We'll see what he will bring out. Might be Vonnie on that Nocturne, actually. Combined with the package coming from Jani's Corki, it might be really good roam potential. Just have these 4-man, 3-man ganks onto other lanes.
There we go. So we have the Nocturne being locked in by Malayan College's Laguna. Very interesting. We have seen some Nocturne during the previous weekend. Actually, they used it pretty well because they were able to secure 2 kills right off the bat in the early phases of the game. So I'm interested in seeing how Vonnie will be playing this out. This is somewhat redemption for both Vonnie and Jani because, yeah, I mean, they did play that game, that first game that they played earlier before being subbed in.
might actually not be the jungle Nocturne here if this Kha'Zix gets locked in. I have seen quite a few Kha'Zix top lanes. Maybe Nocturne top might even be viable, though I wouldn't advise it. On the other hand, UNOR, because the Assassins have, of course, Kha'Zix is banned out, so probably just a visual bug here with the interface. It's going to be the Gangplank lock-in for Lucis, as Gwyn probably will be. Seems like he won't be teasing us with that Gangplank. He will be playing that very strange top lane pick. I'm not sure if I advise it against the Gragas, but it seems like it will have that value there if he can get ahead, if he can get ganks coming from Vani. On the other hand, because all the Assassins have been locked away for Sandy, he's going to go on that Rengar.
So we'll just have to see, as both teams already have their locked-in compositions. But yeah,
it's going to be so hard for MCL here. It seems like their composition doesn't really have a lot of early game potential other than the bot lane. If Lucis and Johnny get behind, it's going to be so hard for them to get back against Exidia, against Xcavi. So it's all up to Vani. Vani really needs to break his back here, trying to snowball Lucis and Johnny. But I think if they have the macro, if they pull off the same macro play and communication that they expressed in the earlier games, they might do it better than most other teams that pick weird top lane champs like this.
And
so we're going to see how all of that plays out.
Yeah, and given how Lucis plays out these games so far, I'm definitely confident in Malayan College's Laguna pulling this off. But then again, they are going up against a team that they haven't gone up before, not to mention from a different conference altogether.
So it's really, yeah, when you get into these interconference series and the group stages, it's really the real test of strength for most of these teams. Like some teams that were just completely wrecked their conference would have a much harder time against teams that might have more experience, are actually better in terms of macro play, are actually better in terms of draft. So we're going to see how all of that, as we load in to our Game 5, our first game for the match between University of Negros Occidental Recoletos Rams and Malayan College's Laguna Warlocks. We're going to see how they play out their level 1s here. It seems like UNOR is grouping up with that Darkstar Orianna too.
Oh, that's a very nifty, fancy skin, of course. Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and see how this plays out for them. So they're currently grouped up. So MCL playing in a different route, separated, divide and conquer.
More on defending their jungle entrances.
Exactly. So yeah, looks like University of Occidental. Yeah, we'll just have to see how this plays out for them. Although they won't be going for any invades. That's
it might be too risky here. Both teams, their level 1s when it comes to invades aren't too stellar. So of course MCL will not be going for that, and UNOR might be too risky because if you go for an invade, you have to get for this specific spell. And going for that specific spell for Xcavi, for Santi, is going to be much harder for them to clear if they go for those invades and get their CC spells first.
Yes, indeed. So there we go. Looks like we'll be seeing the standards for all across the map here. And wow, I mean, again, what's interesting about this game, I mean, we may be making it a little bit light in terms of the bearings of these games, but again, of course, one loss is very crucial because, ladies and gents, for you, of course, that aren't familiar with Interconference Series, only one team per group will actually be emerging.
So it really is bloody. And if you get a 2-0, you get 3 points. If you win, if you tie 1-1, you only get 1 point. So our loss really is crucial because that's taking away 2 points from the possible pool of points you have to defend that seat to get into the seeding for the semifinals.
And which makes things all the more tighter because across the board we've seen 1-1s as opposed to the other groups where we've had some pretty solid 2-0. That being said, maybe this will be a defining game for Malayan College's Laguna. They've already got warmed up, you know, and based on the mistakes that they made earlier, they were able to pick up on what they need to improve on, as opposed to University of Occidental Recoletos. You know, they're growing into this game very fresh into the Interconference Series. So we'll just have to see if MCL learned from the previous mistakes that they made towards potentially securing a 2-0.
Seems like the matchup is manifesting here for UNOR, just completely pushing up Kari and Asuka completely in level 1s. Seems like they don't want to deal with that early level 2 spike just yet, so Asuka just kind of backs off, waits for the wave to get to his turret.
Yes, and of course, by the way, speaking of skins, earlier for our search and win, the question was highest KD8. Who got the highest KD? Of course, that was ADU GC on the Ari. And of course, many congratulations to Hiroyuki C. Santos. You will be receiving your mystery gift within 5 working days.
Might get lucky, get one of those Dark Star skins. Dark Star skins are pretty dope.
Yeah.
Like Kha'Zix is just so good. It might be just because I'm a Kha'Zix main, but back to the game. It seems like both teams are just playing it by the book. Of course, Lucian doesn't really want to all in that Nami Lucian lane just yet because they're just going to get destroyed with a range. Here in the top lane, a gank onto Lucis. Lucis doesn't really end up in a kill, doesn't really push him out of the lane either, so it's just safe. Happy farming here for this Gangplank, Scourge of the Seas.
Oh no, Vaughn, you know, lingering around, potentially trying to see if he could get a gank on, but not quite happening as he was spotted out by that blue ward right there. So nothing quite happening, you know, very silent for the first 3 minutes of the game.
And the biggest impact really here is the CS difference between the bot lane. An entire wave's difference between Asuka and Legend Darren. It's actually pretty huge, but it is natural to how the lane is played. So it's not too bad for MCL because it is a natural occurrence. But it's going to be another gank onto Lucis here. He does have a barrel to try and get that speed boost.
Ooh, connecting. Will they be able to get the kill though? Unfortunately not, but of course, not bad though because they were able to get a significant help.
The ward really helped him there. If he had not had a ward, it would have been an easy kill. And having the barrel already set down, the powder keg already set down for him means that he can just easily get that speed boost and that slow against Santi with that barrel chain.
So there we go. Oh, but here we go. We have yet another attempt here. Bonnie and Johnny. We're seeing all these attempts, but nothing quite connecting into a potential.
Because both of these junglers don't really have an immediate CC. They don't have an immediate stun. They don't have, they just need to be able to set them up. The fear and the Bola strike coming from Santi. It needs a little bit of time to set up for hard CC. Otherwise, it's just a slow.
Ooh, look at this though. Bot lane, a lot of action gets ruined though. Asuka forced to heal. Will they be able to get the cool though? Legend Darren trying to get the zone, gets rooted though.
Oh.
Asuka though gets the first blood. Legend Darren coming up legendary.
Flashes into the Piltover Peacemaker.
Not the best, not exactly the best move there by Asuka. But yeah, we'll just have to see how this goes. Again, first blood for University of Occidental Recoletos.
So it's just going to be that. Actually, that's so bad. Burning the flash just to die means that Legendarian, they should not have pushed that. Of course, there was an opportunity to get the kill for Asuka, but that would have been way too risky. And he should have seen the animation for the Piltover Peacemaker.
So yeah, Johnny a little bit low on mana. Might be recalling sometime soon, but then again, mission accomplished though.
Actually starting the call. Really confident in his ability to lane and get that call. He's already halfway through it. And
not bad, actually.
Yeah, not bad. All that bonus gold means that it seems like Malayan College's Warlocks is really saving up for the mid game and the late game.
So yeah, and that being said, you know, they could kind of afford these small deaths in the earlier phases as long as they trust in how they eventually transition into that mid game, and that's where it'll be really definitive for Malayan College.
Seems like just happy farming here for Lucis, just pushing that lane really hard against Xcavi. It's actually manifesting in quite a sizable difference in terms of CS. Pushing him in, that's actually a 2-wave difference, and without pressure coming from the other lanes, it might be just happy farming for him. It seems like Exidia might go for a little bit of vision dance here in the top lane. Not quite just roaming there to the Gangplank just yet.
Yes, indeed. So there we go. But nonetheless, I gotta commend. I mean, again, you were bringing up this call, and yeah, I actually agree. Like, going in 7 minutes into the game with that level of CS, you know, this is really one of those patience games wherein since you do start off with that call, you can't really do as much. So that being said, I'm really expecting Malayan College's Laguna to just kind of start, maybe get things going.
Santi
with
gets
the game.
spotted out by another ward here.
But oh no, this might actually be very dangerous for Lucis as he tries to walk away. Oh no, forced to flash away, but still, that actually saves him. He lives yet another day.
Yeah, very mechanical there. The restraint for the barrels, and then using his cannon barrage to really deny and slow them down, and then flashing out so that the explosive cast will push him away from the gang is actually pretty mechanical from Lucis. And it seems like Vonnie is not focusing him at the top lane, not focusing his ganks there, which is actually correct. Because as a jungler, it feels so bad to gank for a Gangplank pre-6. And since he just uses Cannon Barrage, he won't be able to gank it. All that Lucis needs to do is just farm up. If he can get a kill or like an assist with his Cannon Barrage across the map, that's fine, that's great. But Vonnie shouldn't be focusing his attention there. He should be focusing on his attention on reaching level 6, which he just has, which means that he can gank Excidia or Legendarian much easier.
I'm actually interested in seeing how this will eventually play off now that both teams have easy access to their ults with the exception of the bot lane. But yeah, I mean, this is where the action will definitely be started. Life begins at level 6.
Yeah, actually, I think that's why Janny got the call. Because he realized that, okay, I probably won't be getting lots of, say, ganks, because the Nocturne will want to reach level 6 first. My top lane can't really go for teleport plays because he's a Gangplank, and bot lane should be self-sufficient with that Karma. So going for that little slow game, building into that Triforce, he opts to go for that little bit of sustain and gold from that call. It seems to be working out for them. The gold difference is minuscule, 300? But it's just going to be bigger and bigger the more that they scale up, because Gangplank's going to get more gold.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. Legendarian actually goes down with crits.
Look at the burst. It seems like
Xgavi. Oh no, Xgavi actually goes into the fight right here. Will this actually translate to anything significant though? Zanti about to join the fight though, trying to spot out one of the lower targets of MCL, but unfortunately...
Here comes Excidia.
Excidia though, this might be a very juicy ult, and yes indeed, this is going way too south for MCL as things just go really bad for them. Kari actually manages to escape.
Huge overcommitment from MCL. They know that their top laner does not have teleport. Plus, it's a Gangplank. Even if he had teleport, it wouldn't have a lot of impact. And this is so bad if they give Ocean Drake here. Because that means that their slow laning would actually be overpowered by the sustain from that Ocean Drake. It seems like Lucis will try to actually get that top turret in exchange for those kills. He does have the Sheen, so it will actually work out for them a little bit.
This is one of the trickier situations for Malayan College's Laguna, because in that sense, sure, I actually like what they're trying to go for. It's just that the problem is, if you're going to compare it to the composition that University of Occidental Recoletos has, it's somewhat interesting because they actually have a lot more tools with this composition and a lot of CC. And while MCL, they really have to rely on the brute damage.
So, yeah, that's definitely one of the points for MCL here, is that they can't afford to go all in here, because that really made them pay the price there in the bot lane. So, what they should do is just continue to scale up. Of course, Asuka would really appreciate some kills early so he can transition to a better Lucian mid-game. But forcing it against Nami Caitlyn is just gonna hurt his team more than it helps him, which is the most important thing. The good thing here is that Lucis is building a sizable gold advantage over Xcavi. Even with the 1 kill, 2 assists on that Gragas, the parlay gold is plus the bandit gold that he's been getting from his harass is actually pretty substantial.
So yeah, we'll just have to see. You know, it's definitely all on Malayan College's Laguna.
They really need to have better restraint. Of course, they can get that kill immediately with like a good package plus paranoia combination, but after that they kind of run out of fuel, which means that they should just rotate out, be satisfied with the kill that they get, because if they overstay, it's just gonna hurt them more, and have a gold lead, rotate back.
Exactly, and whoa, actually Lucis and Vonnie trying to make something up, but yeah, that's actually a great point, because that being said, let's say if we're to have these early 5v5s, MCL definitely in a very awkward situation just because of the hits of University of Occidental Recoletos, just the overall CC. Exactly, you know, they have a lot of tools, a lot of options, as opposed to MCL where it's go big or just make nothing out of it.
Yeah, they just need to chill, because later in the game, Lucis is naturally going to transition into a damage powerhouse with the barrels, with the powder kegs and the parlay combinations. Plus, once he gets the upgrade, the Death's Daughter upgrade to his Cannon Barrage, it's going to help his team a lot more. But before that, it's going to be hard for MCL to get these mid-game fights out. Vonnie as well needs to step up with his engages. Of course, that Paranoia engage was pretty good, but the communication for the team has to be there to back off immediately after they burn all of their resources.
There we go. So yeah, but nonetheless, University of Occidental Recoletos, they're actually doing pretty good from the get-go. Looking at, I mean, they have, I'd say they definitely have a better composition in terms of all the options that they have. But MCL, again, this is where the patience definitely comes into play, wherein they just have to wait until they're within optimal, they have the optimal tools to just really go up to par with University of Occidental Recoletos. Because other than that, if they become a little bit too impatient, this allows University of Occidental Recoletos to just utilize whatever is in their kit. You know, it's not really much of a mechanics matchup. It's just that University of Occidental Recoletos generally has a better.
Their power spike is much earlier. MCL's, of course, there's the Lucian who has a pretty good mid-game power spike. Plus, once Johnny gets the 5-4s, it gets a power spike as well. But with a Nocturne, pretty good paranoia, but he needs to find a good opportunity. The caveat here is the Gangplank pick. It's very strong later in the game, but he can't get into these team fights before he's reached like a good level. Gangplank really reaches his peak of potential at level 13 after he's built his Triforce, and once he's building into either his Infinity Edge or his Yomu's Ghostblade. Once that happens, he can participate in these fights because the timer tick for the powder kegs is like a half a second. So that means his DPS is going to be much more consistent and easier to land. But before that, it's going to be very hard for MCL. Because that's the thing about Gangplank picks. It forces your team to adapt to your play.
So there we go. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I'm really liking how University of Occidental Recoletos has been playing this thus far. But then again, I mean, this is somewhat interesting for Malaya College's Laguna in the sense that they just really have to show, not just restrain themselves, but also they also have to be a little bit more defensive because they don't want to get caught out by any proactive plays that University of Occidental Recoletos make.
The gold lead is just going to go into their favor the more the game goes on. If the pace of the game continues like this, where there's no real team fights, they can start team fighting once they've scaled up. The gold is actually very close at 15 minutes. Even with the 4-kill deficit they have, it's super close. And this is because of the Parlay and Bandit gold and the call that Johnny picked up. So that's actually keeping them in the game here despite the kill deficit, despite the huge misplay bot lane. But I don't think Vonnie is working.
Oh, this is going to be very big. MCL actually converging onto Scabby right here. But Scabby, despite being Shaggy, that is 3 members. Eventually the kill going to Lucis.
That is actually huge. The kill going to Lucis means that this is the first step to the Gangplank snowballing. But seems like they have to back out here with Santi trying to go for a gank. With his ultimate up, gets pushed away. Does not want to overcommit to that and give another kill. But now, the gold is so close. The parlay gold, everything comes down to how Vonnie continues playing to snowball his team.
Of course, with the information that MCL has recalled, they'll be translating this potentially to a Rip Herald. But here we go in the bot lane. We have a little bit of a trade-off. But yeah, this is actually a great time potentially. I don't think MCL is aware of this at all.
Seems like they do have a little bit of feeling. They do have a little bit of feeling. They should have that feeling there, but there are no pings coming out of it. But that's going to be the Farseer ward giving them that information. It's going to be given onto Santi. So the next gank that Santi pulls off with his Thrill of the Hunt is going to, and if it succeeds, it's going to be a Rift Herald play into maybe 1 or 2 turrets. Ideally 2.
And exactly, you know, this is where we've been.
Oh,
okay, there we go.
They burn it immediately against Lucis, not breaking, not like. Missing a beat here, immediately trying to shut down Lucis.
Again, this is where we see plays wherein I wouldn't say Rift Arrow would have been optimally used in the sense that
does get a lot of damage on this turret, but look at that.
Oh no!
After that, they're just gonna clear it immediately. That's a huge mistake from Sam. He should have saved it when he got this Thrill of the Hunt.
That was.
Yeah, that. Of course, it's always fun to see the Rift Herald charge into and demolish the turret's health. But that's not the optimal way to use it. He should have used the Empowered Recall so he can gank more. Yeah, and then once he gets the Thrill of the Hunt gank, maybe bot lane, because bot lane is the most vulnerable for MCL. They can get 2 turrets off that, but instead, they waste it. They wasted the potential of the Empowered Recall. They waste the potential of the turret destruction.
Indeed. So, yeah, it's very, very awkward indeed. Because we've been talking about how we actually managed to get 3 tiers out of how to use Rift Herald. The most worth, I'd say, is if you manage to get 2 turrets, meaning outer and inner turret, or at least just 2 turrets consecutively.
Yeah, after a gang.
Like an okay use for Rift Herald would be if you get an outer turret, like 1 turret. Better if it's inner. But then again, this would probably be one of the worst ways. Sure, like you get a significant chunk of damage onto a turret, but still it doesn't translate to an actual takedown.
And Xcavi is never going to reach that turret. As long as Lucis is in that lane, the powder kegs are going to have too much wave clear to actually get anything out of it. And it seems like Lucis is going for an adaptive playstyle here. Instead of going for the usual Yomus into Infinity Edge, he's going for the Sterex Gauge to defend against the huge burst that will come from Santi and Exidia. And because your Yomus in IE don't matter if you're dead before you know it. So that Sterex Gauge build is actually a good pickup for him. More survivability while still giving him a little bit more base AD for his Triforce when he does go big.
And there we go. So yeah, we'll just have to see how this goes. Again, it's somewhat telling as to the decision-making of University of Occidental Recoletos. But that being said, hopefully we don't see those extremely abrupt, those excited plays which could have been used in much more better situations.
Seems like now Lucis, he knows that the Rengar Santi is hanging around there in the bot lane, so he's a lot free to go for these wave clears with those powder tricks. But of course, both top laners have teleport up, and I think Lucis is near the point where he can make an impact with teleport plays. But seems like vision control is around here for Mountain Drake for UNOR. But this is going to be huge. If MCL gets this Mountain Drake, they have 2 AD carries, they have Gangplank with a Triforce, they have another attack damage threat here coming from Vonnie. If they get that Mountain Drake, later in the game, objectives are going to be so easy. But if UNOR gets it, it's actually good for them too. It's one of the best Drakes to get in the game, no matter what your composition is.
Exactly. And this will only help MCL towards securing objectives. I mean, technically, that's the huge potential of this composition. With the Gangplank, he could split push, has some excellent wave clear because of those barrels at later levels.
And if played correctly, you would need like 2 members to take him down, which means that the split push's success rate is much higher. And right now, the game is going very slowly, and this is actually bad for UNOR, because yes, Santi has 2 kills, but on a Rengar, you want to get those kills consistently. You want to fill up your Bone Tooth necklace.
Exactly.
And if you're not getting those and the game is going slow, you're just gonna get overpowered by Vonnie and Lucis later in the game. Not to mention the 2 AD carries that MCL has. But of course, UNOR still has that very well-rounded composition.
This is one of those scenarios wherein, sure, you could have a great start, but if you don't really pick up the pace and like build up momentum from that and just stay stagnant, then that's where UNOR actually starts having problems.
Yeah, because that means Santi's going to have a much harder time one-shotting the important people for MCL, because they have huge shields from the Karma, and Lucis has this Sterex Gauge as well, so it's also going to be much harder for him. The barrier is also up for Janny. So all of these combined, that's going to be Exidia.
And this is going to be very tricky, though. Oriana actually goes down, but here comes Santi trying to make something out of this, but in exchange, here comes Xcavi as well. Will this actually translate to anything, though? Johnny trying to deal as much damage as again. But here we go. Here comes the response from the rest of UNOR. And that's going to be the killing spree for Santi, finally picking up the slack. Looks like Legendary actually not done yet as Lucis and Kari joins the party.
Oh man, Lucis is going to get so fed off of
But
this.
here we go. Asuka might actually potentially go for the clean up here. Things are going very well for MCL. Gets the kill. Wow, that is going to be 4 members of UNOR down for 2.
With Exidia down, it means that there's a lot of DPS gone from there. And Santi being so low means that he can just dive in willy-nilly. So that was all up to Xcavi to deal a lot of the damage there. And because of how long that counter gank was, that gave enough time for Lucis. That gave enough time for Lucis to catch up and get his DPS. And he had a Sterex Gauge, so he couldn't die immediately. So all of those delays allowed Kari to go to him and get the shields. This is what happens. They get the really good combo here. That was the wombo combo I was talking about. They get Shockwave, sure, but there's no follow-up from that. And it gets feared anyway because it doesn't get stopped by Shockwave. They dive onto Janny, but the really good Cannon Barrage denies him because now Santi can just go in there because he'll just get chunked down and get taken out by Johnny. So it's up to Xcavi here to go and finish the fight. And here comes the help coming from the Tidal Wave as well as Legendarian. Bonnie gets taken down and Johnny is also gets taken down, but all of them are vulnerable to Lucis. He gets exhausted, but the Xerax Gauge allows him to survive enough for Parry to shield him and for Asuka to help him to clean up. And actually all of that is going to make... So Asuka now is actually ahead. Actually no, Asuka a little bit evens out with Legendarian. And now Lucis is so ahead. 216 farm, Triforce Xerax Gauge. And with all those Polygold that he accumulated, that's huge.
And you know what's interesting is that we've been seeing a lot of great combos from both Johnny and Bonnie. But one of the more straightforward combos, I'm actually surprised that we're not seeing as much, is actually... Oh, man. Oh, no, but hold that thought right there. It looks like Bonnie actually going to go on to Legendarian. Goes down right away. This is 4 men, easily taking down the bot lane duo of UNOR.
Yeah, UNOR not respecting the Cannon Barrage and the Paranoia. The global potential of MCL's composition is just there, and that's how you use Gangplank. That is how you use Gangplank. You don't force your team to adjust to you by picking Gangplank. What you do is make composition that is not centered on the Gangplank, but rather centered on all those global ultimates available to you. Or rather, long-range ultimates and long-range engages. You have the Paranoia, you have the package, and you have the Gangplank's Cannon Barrage. And that's what let Asuka live and get those 2 kills, get that Mountain Drake, and then definitely this bot lane turret.
There we go. MCL finally picking up some slack in this mid-game, and things are only going to get better for them if UNOR does not respond to these proactive plays from
Okay,
MCL
so
properly.
they do get pushed off of the turret, but that is huge. Like, that is a Rift Herald's, more than Rift Herald's worth of damage. Because of that really good use of the ultimate, the Paranoia, and the Cannon Barrage to deny the kill, as well as get them their own resources, which extends their lead to 3.7k. And if MCL is just gonna, if MCL keeps playing like they are as a team, that goal lead is just going to extend because of the parlay and because of how much damage that Lucis is gonna build up.
The problem I have with UNOR is actually their composition is pretty well-rounded to the point that it's almost textbook. Like, you have the red card is a classic, but hold that thought right there. Looks like Legendarian actually going to get caught in a very tough place in between Lucis, and looks like his support will be the next to follow. But wow, a lot of proactive plays from Lion College's Laguna. They are just picking up the slack, going really, really hard, and
now Asuka is actually starting to get ahead here with his power spike, building in his Black Cleaver, getting his 4th. With the help of his team, he can compensate for all the losses that he's had in lane. And look at Lucis, 4-0 and 4 with over 220 farm. That's just huge. I think if we check the gold, it's gonna be Lucis with having so much. And I really like the composition for MCL because Lucis doesn't make it about him. Lucis, the Gangplank, doesn't make it about him. It's all about using all of their ultimates, all of the potential tickets very easily, but hold that bot.
No, this is going to be very dirty. Santi actually goes down very, very fast. Exidia might be the next, but no, actually manages to back away. Lucis very low on health. Will be going down. That's going to be the takedown by the Orianna, and the rest of MCL actually flees for the meantime.
They have to run away here, but oh man, Johnny has some balls trying to go in there. He does have a lot of burst, but the team is not in a position to follow up if he tries to go in, so he just rotates away.
Oh my goodness, MCL actually showing up very good, and that's actually very good. You know, they were able to take an inner bot turret within these minutes of the game, and yeah, I mean, whatever great start UNOR had is ultimately somewhat voided.
They acted on it too slow. They acted on it too slow, and that's what MCL wants you to do. If they have Corki, they have 280 carries, and they have Gangplank, they want you to take it slow so they can have time to scale up. And though UNOR is getting back at them with these objectives, the way they're playing, it seems like they left MCL too much breathing room. They left the Gangplank and the 280 carries too much breathing room in the early game, which means that their mid game is a lot better than it should be.
And you know what? What I find interesting is that if you're going to look at the two compositions, MCL actually has, for me, a more complicated composition to execute. That being said, with UNOR, it's very textbook. Like,
yeah, it's very balanced. Deliver the ball with either Xcavi or Santi, and then get the shockwave out, get a
so I'm actually surprised, but oh no, Johnny actually, look at the confidence going in onto Exidia. Might actually be going down. Actually gets the kill onto the Nami. Killing spree for Bonnie right here. Redemption is real for both the jungler and mid laner of MCL. Actually, Uno Legendary manages to get the kill, but still, this might actually be good for MCL as a lot of members takes down Legendary and Johnny doing so well. Looks like Excami might be the next to fall. Asuka gets the culling cancel, but actually
really
look
confident.
at this. Actually goes very deep in, but backs away with the presence of Exidia.
Lucis, he survived for so long and dealt so much damage because Kari was supporting him, which allows them to get this Baron. I really like how all of that played out for MCL. They didn't get, of course, they had a really big loss because of the 2v2 with the free hits coming from Legendarian, but all of that pays off because MCL gets the Baron buff. And this is going to make their siege so much worse, rather so much more painful. Look at this, Johnny fearlessly going in, dodges the shockwave, gets so much burst against Exidia. The cannon barrage is there as a little bit more of damage, not really a lot of value gained from it, but so it's gonna be 3v2 here, and then 2v2 between Lucis, Kari, and then Legendarian and Rengar, Santi. Of course, he gets taken down. But look at the damage that he dealt against Santi and Legendarian, which allows Janny and Bonnie to get the kill against him.
So wow, again, this is very interesting from UNOR because based on how I'm looking at, there's actually two key problems that I'm seeing.
Oh man, he's ready for the second upgrade of his cannon barrage. With how his team plays, it's probably and how the team fights are going, he will be going for that 30%, boosting morale with that 30% move speed under the cannon barrage.
This is just going to make Malayan College's Laguna all the more painful. But yeah, some of the evident problems that I'm seeing with UNOR is, number one, the momentum. They had a great start. They didn't pick that up. Second, of course, is I feel like there's somewhat of a disconnect because, like I mentioned, their composition is very textbook, but if you don't really have that synergy to make it work, then that's where you have problems. This is probably why we haven't been seeing as many textbook plays from the Rengar-Orianna combo.
Yeah, MCL has been making these weird picks work. They have Corki mid, they have Nocturne in the jungle, and Gangplank top. So, looking at it from a statistical perspective, you would see, okay, UNOR's composition definitely wins. But because MCL has the macro play, they can make these picks work. And that's really something, and they're really showing that potential that I mentioned earlier in this game. It seems like control of vision is under MCL's side. Will UNOR try and contest it?
That being said, for UNOR, unless they could find a way to come together as a team and figure out how this composition works to realize their win conditions, I don't think UNOR could actually potentially come back from Malayan College's Laguna, because looking at how MCL is playing this out, they're just really maximizing all their... They know how they should be playing out this game. They've been patient enough to wait it out until this mid-game, and they're just skyrocketing at this point. And I don't think UNOR knows how to respond to this type of aggression that MCL is turning, especially with this composition.
And of course, that's going to be the search and win code, or rather the link. Just open up a tab, fill out the form completely, and then answer it correctly. And if you're the first, you'll get a mystery gift in a few days. But now let's go back to MCL with a Baron buff.
Oh, that's going to be the dive from Bonnie right there. Man. Looks like Exidia gonna falter right off the bat. Here comes the teleport though from Excavy.
Oh man, okay, Excavy actually continued the teleport, which means that MCL is in a better position to take out this turret and poke and siege.
Oh man, that is going to be a wasted ult coming from Santi right there. Not able to hunt anybody in particular as MCL continues to push with this Baron buff. Makes things all the more easy for them. UNOR trying to defend as hard as they can, but to what extent?
They do have the long range from Legendarian, but they can't sustain this forever. If Lucis gets a really good powder keg explosion with a parlay trigger, look at that damage against Santi. That just pushes them away, forcing them to use a redemption with that hefty cooldown. So it seems like now they get that top lane turret, and it seems like they might be in position to actually get Infernal Drake after this.
So there we go, 8-14 now on our scoreboard.
Lucis gonna try and get some wave clear.
But yeah, it looks like Baron is down, but still very good for MCL as they utilize that to the team. We're able to translate that perspective as well as skills. It looks like they will be getting the Infernal Drake, which makes them all the more painful.
Oh man, they really took that super quickly. After all, they have 280 carries plus Nocturne, who is not a slouch in terms of damage. He has that Edge of Night. Just I like that pickup. The pickup here is Devourer, which increases his attack speed, of course. The Deadman's Plate to help him catch up and not be kited with that move speed. And the Edge of Night. That adds a second spell shield to his repertoire. Which means that the Shockwave is going to be much harder. It's going to be harder to lock him down with explosive cast. I really like that pickup versatility under Bonnie. And Lucis, he's just doing so much work for his team. Getting a lot of damage, getting a lot of wave clear, but of course the 280 carries are no slouch. Their KDAs are pretty deceptive because they've actually been super impactful. They've been pushing these turrets, they've been clearing waves, they've been poking. And that's how MCL's been doing it. They've been conquering the game. But UNOR, the biggest thing is that they played too slow. And against a team that should be played fast against. They should have taken advantage of Lucis, slow scaling, should have taken advantage of Bonnie's weak ganks early in the game, but they didn't.
Exactly, and this is the problem wherein if you can't really assess what your strengths are, especially in which particular phase of the game, that's where problems occur. And clearly MCL, there were so many telltale signs where they would have played it a little bit more passively. Oh, but here we go, Bonnie actually going for the dive onto Excidia. Here comes Excavio, gonna be frontlining, but Johnny actually diving in like throw. Manages to take down Excidia, but here comes Zanti trying to make something out of this, but won't be the next opponent. That is 3 members of UNOR down. It looks like Legendary might actually be the next casualty. Johnny,
be an ace.
Wow, breaking it like a pro, and that is going to be the ace. MCL coming out so big.
The Wombo combo, they go in, and of course, Excidia was already expecting it. So he gets the Banshee's Veil, but after that, Johnny goes for the flank play, gets a pincer attack, and the Cannon Barrage just for security means that MCL takes the first game against UNOR with these unconventional picks, but macro play, teamwork, communication, trust, respect, all make it so that they get this first win against UNOR.
Wow,
Impressive.
I mean, again, exactly, that's the best way to put it. Very impressive indeed. Malayan College's Laguna. Finally, I feel like for each game that progresses, they get stronger and stronger. That being said, hopefully, this is what we're talking about, momentum, ladies and gents, wherein hopefully, with the victories that hopefully they keep up this pace, and I wouldn't be surprised, like, if they manage to do that, they might actually come up on top of this group.
Of course, but yeah, UNOR, we saw that they have a lot of potential as well. They have really good early game. Their biggest problem is that they're not able to transition it into snowballing leads. They play too slow, and they don't realize that the win condition of the enemy. You have to know the win condition of the enemy, why they built this item, why they picked these champions. And look at the damage. Oh, Johnny dealt so much damage.
Nobody on the blue side actually near half of what the Corki exerted.
And the biggest thing is they let this happen. UNOR let this happen. They could have had so much potential with the teleport plays, with the ganks, but they played too slow, which allowed Janny, which allowed Lucis to scale up and deal that 20,000 plus damage. That's the biggest thing that they need to. They already, because MCL in the early game, they made some pretty crucial mistakes. And of course, UNOR capitalized on them. The problem is, after they capitalized on it, they didn't put even further investments into their capital, which meant that they falter in the mid-game, late game, and then gets overpowered by the damage and initiation.
Oh man, but then again, of course, there is still room for our team to kind of make a comeback, as we still have one last game that'll be Game 6 later on, ladies and gents. Congratulations, of course. Game 1 going to Malayan College's Laguna. For the meantime, we have been your casters. This is Arctic at your service, and with me is Atlas. Stay tuned as we will be right back with the Local Collegiate League, powered by Lenovo. About to join the fight, though, trying to spot out one of the lower targets of MCL, but unfortunately,
Here comes Excidia.
Excidia, though, this might be a very all in the essence lead. This is going way too south for MCL as things just go really bad for them. Kari actually manages this is going to be very big. MCL actually converging onto Scabby right here, but Scabby, despite being Johnny, that is eventually the kill going to and that's going to be the killing spree for Sandy, finally picking up the splash. Looks like Legendary actually not done yet as Lucis and Kari joins the party.
Oh man, Lucis is going to get so fed off
But
of
here we
this.
go, Asuka might actually potentially go for the cleanup here. Things are going very well for MCL, gets the kill. Wow, that's actually going to go on to Legendary. Goes down right away. This is 4 men, easily taking down the bot lane duo of UNOR. Darren actually going to get caught in a very tough place in between Lucis, and looks like His support will be the next to follow, but wow, right, but oh no, Johnny actually, look at the confidence, going in onto Exidia, might actually be going down, actually gets the kill on Minami, killing spree for Bonnie right here. Redemption is real for both the jungler and mid laner of MCL. Actually, Uno Legendary manages to get the kill, but still, this might actually be good for MCL as a lot of members takes down Legendary and Johnny doing so well. Looks like Excalibur might be the next one. Here we go, Bonnie actually going for the dive onto Exidia. Here comes Excalibur, gonna be frontlining, but Johnny actually diving in like bro. Johnny just take down Exidia, but here comes Johnny trying to make something out of this, but will be the next opponent. That is 3 members of UNOR down. It looks like Legendary might actually be the next casualty. Johnny, wow! It's like a pro, and that's gonna be the ace. MCL coming out so big.
The wombo combo, they go in, and of course, Exidia was already expecting it, so he gets the Banshee spell, but after that, Johnny just goes for the flank play, gets a pincer attack, and the cannon barrage just for security. Means that MCL takes the first game against UNOR with these unconventional picks, but macro play, teamwork, communication, trust, respect, all make it so that they get this first win against UNOR.
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.